A lot of motivational speakers, a lot of self-improvement, self-development people always talk about you got to find your why. You got to find your why. Why do you do things? And, to a large extent, I agree. You got to find your why or what your purpose is, right? But that's not everything. And your why needs to be a more specific why, not related to you. The money was really good, but at the same time, I was not feeling fulfilled, okay? Because the why was very introcentric, like self-centric. It was all about me. How much money can we get? And so that why was not sufficient to fulfill me. Over time, something dawned on me as related to the why, specifically to the law firm. And the why became, I realized that over time, we were actually changing people's lives. If your why is for something grander for other people, those little extra efforts you're gonna make where you would normally give yourself a pass because the why was about you instead of somebody else, those extra efforts that you're gonna add and compound over time generates a much greater impact, a much greater influence, a much greater legacy for you. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is the End-to-End Podcast, and I'm your host, Dr. Yun Win, affectionately called Ninja or Prolific Ninja by my family and friends. And because my fans are my friends, you can call me Ninja too. This is the End-to-End Podcast, the alpha to the omega, the beginning to the end. Talking about life, motivation, drive, success, self-improvement, and offering you morsels in this all-you-can-eat buffet called life. Man, it has been a phenomenal but frantic day. Obviously, you can see I am not in the studio, nor am I in my office conference room. In fact, we are on location at Rice University in Houston, Texas, the great Rice Owls. Having a collaborative meeting here with some student athletes in the athletic department, talking about PFAS, the forever chemical in our water supply causing cancer. I'm going to start this episode as I start every day. If you're new to the show or if you've been listening a while, I start every show with an expression of gratitude as I start my day. When my eyes pop open, I thank God, the universe, for another day, another opportunity to be great. And so with that, I want to thank you all for liking, following, commenting, supporting, sharing the show. The audience continues to grow, and I'm so blessed for you. And so the only way we grow the show, because I have no sponsors, although I do, is, I do this on my own dime, on my own time. Spend my money, obviously, on location, draw out my production crew to record podcast episodes for you. And so the only way we grow the show without support of third-party money, outside money, is if you share the show. And so to do that, I like to say, if your knowledge swole, share the show. If you learned something, felt good about it, made you laugh, entertainment, whatever, if you got anything out of any show, even if you didn't like the show and you want to spread the hate, share the show. Because that is how we grow. So if your knowledge swole, share the show. That's how we grow. But excited to be here on the campus of Rice University talking about PFAS. And so our sponsor actually is, in fact, my law firm. We are working on a campaign to raise cancer awareness around PFAS, the forever chemical that's causing cancer around the state of Texas. So if you know anybody that has cancer, either active or in remission, or in any state for which somebody has died from cancer, please reach out, pfasinjuryattorney.com, pfasinjuryattorney.com, or check us out on X or Twitter at pfaslawyer, or just DM me here and we can get your family some help. Real quick, there's going to be a fast episode because I don't even think we're allowed to do this in this conference room, so we kind of get this through and get out of here. Part of the conversation is talking about your why. A lot of motivational speakers, a lot of self-improvement, self-development people always talk about you got to find your why. You got to find your why. Why do you do things? And to a large extent, I agree. You got to find your why or what your purpose is, right? But that's not everything. And your why needs to be a more specific why, not related to you, right? So before I get into that, ask yourself, what is your why? What is your why do you do what you do from a career, professional, money-making standpoint? Why do you do what you do? And as you answer that to yourself, let me tell you a story about myself. When I was a young attorney and opening my own shop. Now this is the real deal. Like coming out of law school, obviously having uh, got my medical degree, medical doctorate, coming out of law school, I was sought after to work for some large law firms. And you can imagine, in my mid late 20s, I can't remember exactly when, but if you included bonus opportunities, I was turning down 160, 180K opportunities to bet on myself, to open up my own shop, right? I think I talked about it in prior episodes. Turning down real money as a mid, late 20-year-old, starting with zero, okay? Why do I say this? Well, initially at that time, my why for doing, for my law firm was, as we got each case, it was just, man, how much money can we make? How much money can we make? How much money can we make? So our why at that point was making money, right? And don't get me wrong, we started off very, very slow, but slowly over time built a reputation and got successful, right? The why was really slow. The money was really slow, but at the same time, the money was really good. But at the same time, I was not feeling fulfilled. Okay, because the why was very introcentric, like self-centric. It was all about me. How much money can we get? And so that why was not sufficient to fulfill me. Over time, something dawned on me as related to the why, specifically to the law firm. And the why became, I realized that over time, we were actually changing people's lives. People who have been injured through no fault of their own, people who, are going through medical treatment, people who have losing jobs or having to take off time from work to recover, they're in pain, their family's suffering. All these things helped me realize that our work was changing their lives by representing them to the best of our abilities and getting them the most money that they could possibly get for their case. Shifting to that focus of changing people's lives, that has become the mantra of my law firm. It's become the mantra of this podcast. It's become the mantra of everything I do, is how does what I do change people's lives? All of a sudden, I was making money and feeling fulfilled. And in that, we started making more money and getting more clients and representing people way better than when the purpose was just about making money. So I go back to this question of, what is your why? Is your why because you want to buy a Lambo? Is your why because you want to buy a big house? Is your why because you want to become famous? Or is your why something bigger than yourself? Because when it is something bigger than yourself, you will find, especially if it's for other people, you will find that your motivation is stronger. Your drive is stronger. Those times when you're like, you don't feel like doing what you're supposed to do, if your why is for yourself, you can give yourself a pass. You can say, not today, if the why is about you. But if your why is about someone else, it is very hard to give yourself a pass because you're letting somebody down. Same thing here. We're working with student athletes. I tell them the same thing. When you're playing basketball or football or some type of team sport, if it's all about your own stats, you don't play as hard than it is about winning the game. If you play for your other teammates and you play for winning the game and you play for representing the organization you represent and you play for those fans that are supporting you and you play for other people, you play harder. You just give that extra 1% more energy in every play that over time, that compounding interest on every play adds up to a winning game. Similarly, in your own life, if your why is for something grander for other people, those little extra efforts you're going to make where you would normally give yourself a pass because the why was about you instead of somebody else, those extra efforts that you're going to add and compound over time generates a much greater impact, a much greater influence, a much greater legacy for you. So, in this very brief podcast episode, I want you to consider your why. If your why is just about you and what you can get out of your efforts, I will tell you right now, it is not good enough. Reshape, rethink your why. Find a reason bigger than yourself. And it could be for your family, it could be for your faith, it could be for people less fortunate. But when you make that why something bigger than yourself, affecting others around you, it's much, much easier to get to that road of success because it'll give you that extra boost of energy in order to do what you have to do. Success is hard. And so you need to harness every ounce of energy you can possibly get to build that momentum towards that path of success. So glad to be here. Very short episode. Had to record it on site because I'm actually out of town traveling next week. And we wanted to stay consistent and make sure we publish an episode every week. So glad to be here. I'm going to close the episode as I close every day of mine. When I put my head down on the pillow, close my eyes, I give thanks to God and the universe for another day to hopefully having made an impact and to use all the gifts and talents that I've been bestowed with. So with that, I want to thank you all for listening. As I said at the start of the show, if you're knowledgeable, share the show. That is how we grow. Please, if you know anybody that has cancer or is dealing with cancer or has died from cancer, go to pfasinjuryattorney.com. Supporting that cause and awareness will also support this show. So please go to pfasinjuryattorney.com or follow us on X at PFASLawyer and learn more about how the forever chemical is being contaminated in the water, causing cancer across the country, but more importantly in Texas. So with that, grateful to be here. Be great today, but be even more grateful. And I'm looking forward to bringing you another episode next week, consistently on the End to End podcast.